quality of life is really speaking to the amount of joy we're able to extract out of life on a daily basis, our ability to navigate uncertainty or unexpected circumstances in a healthy way, our ability to be healthy and then stay healthy. So not just doing the things to be healthy and maybe losing the weight, but then not gaining it back. Your numbers not going back up, right? Like quality of life. Like if you want to travel, you can travel. If you want to start a business, you can do that. If you know your worth, so you can put yourself out there. Like quality of life means being in a position to do the things you need to do to extract the most joy out of life for yourself and others, right? It really speaks to self-actualization, meaning your gifts and your talents are being optimized and used for the improvement of other people's lives, right? But what happens is a lot of times when we've been overwhelmed for so long, we don't even notice it anymore. Like when we've made a habit out of adjusting life to dysfunction, we don't even realize we're doing it.
Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health.
I just wanted to talk today about something that I talked about towards the end of last year. I think it was the month of November on my YouTube. I did a series about healing. And so I wanted to bring that back up today. So welcome everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Lisa A. Smith and I am a coach. I've been a coach for a decade now. I'm operating in the health space, in the personal development space, and also in the business coaching space. And I wanted to invite you guys into this short, intimate conversation today because I got some recent divine downloads just around how we should be operating if we're trying to move the needle from chronic stress and get to a place of optimal health, but most importantly, to get to a place of self-actualization, which I kind of describe as optimizing, making sure we're maximizing our gifts and our talents, right? So the most optimal use of the best parts of us, right, is what I describe as self-actualization, optimizing the best parts of us, most importantly for the betterment of other people. And so there's two major things that I want to share with you guys today, which won't take a long time, but then I want to hold space for Q&A or just some revelations that might come up when I'm sharing some things with you guys. And so I'm hoping this short, intimate conversation is helpful for those of you. How many of you are here because maybe in the last several months, you've consumed some content from me around stress? Lots and lots of you. Yes, I've been talking about stress for quite some time now. And there's no signs of me slowing down. Like I'm speaking this weekend to an audience about stress. I'm speaking next week to a corporate audience about stress. It's a big thing in our society. And so I wanted to share with you guys what one of the major things that's helped me to personally move the needle that I think might be great to hear for some of you. And there's two things that I wanted to highlight today. The first is what happens when we are dealing with chronic stress and we're unhealed. So a lot of us have been exposed in our lives at some point or another to something that has maybe done a number on us emotionally. And I'll tell you what mine was. Mine was definitely when I was young. My mom and my dad got divorced and they were co-parenting. And he was, doing the visitation and picking me up for weekend visitation for a while. And then one day he stopped and I've never seen him since. And I didn't even know that it bothered me until I was like in my 30s, sitting on the campus of Wayne State University, enrolled as pre-med. And I was listening to Les Brown talk about how he was adopted. And then he was like, I'm so grateful that my mother, he was talking about his adoptive mother. He was like, I'm so grateful that she chose me and my brother. She chose us, right? And it was in that moment that I had a revelation like, dang, my dad didn't choose me. And so I remember like tears streaming down my face. And I remember feeling abandoned. And that started me on a path where I had to discover how to unpack this in a healthy way so that I can move forward with my life. Has anyone else had an experience like that where you had to figure out how I'm going to work through this so that I can move forward? And maybe you're still trying to figure it out. So here I am in my 30s, y'all, and I'm sitting on the campus of Wayne State University, and I'm crying because I didn't know up until this point. It's not something that I was keenly aware of. It's not something that I was avoiding. It just hit me like a ton of bricks, like all of a sudden. And I'm like, shoot, I got to go get therapy for this. I got to talk to somebody about this. Like, I am feeling a certain way. Like, I wasn't enough for him to love me like most children do. What did I do wrong? And then the next thing, I wanted answers. Now I want to know why. Is he still alive? Do I have siblings? I just had a million and one questions, right? That all sparked from these feelings of abandonment. And so I went on this journey of healing through that and as I was going on this journey, I was able to see how these feelings of abandonment were showing up in my life. Right. So for me, one of the ways it showed up was I didn't develop attachments to much of anything. So it could be in relationships, it can be in my business, anything. I was willing to leave anything at first sign of imperfection or at the first sign of something not being like working it out wasn't necessarily my first course of action for me. Right. It was all about, well, this is over. And so that's one of the ways this showed up for me. And it took years for me to realize that wasn't a healthy way to deal with things. That wasn't a healthy way to deal with things that I was unsatisfied with, whether it be an assistant that was working for me in the business or a partner in life or a role that I had. Like I've stepped down from positions like, no, I don't like the way y'all do things here. Like, I don't even want to have a healthy conversation about how we can fix it or make it better. It was just like, I'm out, right? And so I had to quickly realize that wasn't necessarily a sustainable strategy for doing life, right? I had to learn how to communicate. I had to learn how to have healthy, productive, but sometimes difficult conversations, right? So that's just one example of the way it showed up for me when I wasn't healed yet. Now, what's super dope is that I went down this journey through therapy and hiring a private investigator to find my biological father. Like I did all the things, y'all. Like I made sure I exhausted all resources so I could get to a place where I had no regrets. Like I did everything I could to make sure that when I thought back on this circumstance and this situation and my dad and my biological father and all the things that came with it, that I would not have any residual feelings or any regrets. So I did all the things. I found them. I went to therapy. I had to have uncomfortable conversations with my mom, about like what really happened. And I just learned a brand new story literally last month when my mom was in town visiting me. So like it's been an amazing journey. And so I said all that to say, because I too have been in a place once upon a time where I was unhealed, I have very keen awareness on the dangers of being unhealed. Now, when you pair that with chronic stress, it really gets dangerous. So before we go forward, do you guys know the difference between acute versus chronic stress? When I use this terminology, I don't want to assume that all of you guys have been consuming my content for a while and understand how I define it. So acute stress is the stress we want. Like none of our lives are going to be completely stress-free. So I'm not on here advocating for a 100% stress-free life. I'm on here advocating for the absence of chronic stress. So chronic means something, first off, is long-term, ongoing, typically no end in sight. So meaning we don't have an exit strategy, right? And so it's chronic. Like most people, if we were to use this word chronic in a different area, a lot of people, especially people of color, are battling what we call chronic disease, right? So that means they're living with hypertension for 20 years. They've been overweight or obese their entire adult life. They're dealing with high cholesterol. They're dealing with type 2 diabetes. They're dealing with heart disease. That is all considered chronic disease. These are things that are actually reversible. These are things that are preventable. yet they're simply managing the disease and there's no end in sight for it. Like they're taking the pill to manage it, but they're not changing their lifestyle to put it in remission, right? And so that makes it chronic, it's ongoing. And so if we apply that same concept of chronic to stress, it's very similar, right? We are managing stress. Most of us have been taught to manage stress, which is not a bad thing if the stress is acute. It becomes problematic if we're trying to manage chronic stress. Acute stress is normal, it's short term. There's an exit strategy or end in sight. Like, oh, when I get done writing this book, I could breathe a little. Or I get done with this big project, I could breathe a little. When this wedding is over or this life event is over, ooh, we can exhale, right? Or I had an unexpected occurrence with my car or in the house or whatever. Oh, my baby hurt themselves at school. Yeah, it's stressful for a moment, but we know it's just a moment. But some of us, our stress is chronic, meaning I'm at a job that I am completely unhappy in, I'm unfulfilled, and I don't have an exit strategy. I'm in debt that feels overwhelming, and I don't have an exit strategy. I'm in a relationship that's no longer mutually beneficial or fulfilling, and I don't have an exit strategy. I haven't healed from something. And so I continue to be triggered throughout life, and it compromises my ability to get joy and fulfillment out of life because I'm not healed from something and I don't have an exit strategy. So I need us to be honest right now, guys. If you are dealing with chronic stress, a circumstance that's overwhelming for which you do not have an exit strategy from, and is starting to compromise your ability to be whole and healthy. Now I want you to pair that with how many of you guys admit that there's something you haven't healed from? I'm unhealed also, Lisa. I experienced a loss in the past and I'm still grieving. The loss could have been a person or it could have been the loss of a job or the loss of income or the loss of a best friend. I don't care what it is. It could have been the loss of a situation. I experienced some trauma. I was violated at one, and now I deal with that and I haven't healed from it. Somebody upset me. I had a relationship end really bad, or I'm a victim of something and I'm not healed from it, right? And so if you're dealing with chronic stress and you're at a place where you're unhealed, I want to share with you guys the risk of that. Okay. So imagine this. You are dealing with chronic stress. And so day in, day out, it causes maybe unrest in you physically, angst, maybe anxiety, maybe low mood, maybe feelings of depression. But then also it causes you to have maybe erratic sleeping habits, maybe have erratic eating habits. At least I can't stay consistent with eating clean, or I can't stay off the sugar, or I can't stay off the alcohol, or I can't stop smoking, or whatever it is, because this is how I soothe myself because I'm stressed out. I'm self-soothing because I don't know. I don't know what I should be doing to get out of this situation. So imagine that. So imagine you're dealing with the chronic stress and you're trying to self-soothe in an unhealthy way. And then we pair that with the fact that you're unhealed. So there's something you haven't completely healed from. So let me tell you how those two intersect, this concept of being unhealed and being chronically stressed. I'm just going to write two things out for you guys. So if you're dealing with both chronic stress plus unhealed, let me tell you the risk you're running. There's two risks here. Okay. Like I'm trying to figure out how to get out of chronic stress, but I'm unhealed. So I got some brokenness in me that I haven't quite rectified yet. Number one, the very first issue is this, and this is a major one, because to get out of chronic stress, you need this skill set. But if you're unhealed, you have compromised decision making. Now, earlier, I told you guys a story where I talked about when I discovered I had something I needed to heal from. Now, I also told you, as a result of me being unhealed, I thought abandoning things and just walking away from things was a healthy approach to navigating circumstances. I had compromised decision making because I wasn't fully healed yet from my own personal abandonment issues. I didn't have the tools I needed to make healthier decisions. I probably could have saved some of those relationships. I probably could have saved some of those friendships. I probably wouldn't be on my eighth assistant by now, right? I need you guys to understand how compromised decision making impacts or prolongs stress. Does everybody understand that? When you are unhealed, that means you are not making decisions from a healthy place. If you have confidence issues, if you have self-esteem issues, if you have self-worth issues, let me give you another example how this might show up for those of us who have confidence or self-worth issues. Imagine you haven't healed, and so you have low self-worth. I have a client who this is the case for her, right? She came from a very, very abusive marriage. And he really tore her self-esteem up, y'all. And so she has compromised self-worth and self-esteem. And so how might this show up if she hasn't healed from that, but she's stressed out? That means she may settle for something that's below what she's worth, right? So that means that might look like taking a job, or if you're running a business, you're lowering your prices, or that means in dating or relationships, you're settling for people who are not your first pick, but it's all you think you can get. So if you're unhealed, you have compromised decision making. Is that making sense, everybody? I need you to get how healing can really be the catalyst to getting rid of chronic stress. Oftentimes, we're not dealing with chronic stress because there's absolutely no way out. We're often dealing with chronic stress because there's tough decisions we need to make. And either we're avoiding decision making or we're not making the best decisions because we're trying to make them from an unhealed place. So we need money, but we're saying yes to price points or offers that's below the value of what we're giving, but our self-worth is telling us that's all we can get or that's all we're worth. And so now we can't get out of the financial stress because we're settling for income that's below what we're worth because our compromised mindset and belief systems is telling us to do it. Being unhealed will prolong stress because it compromises decision making over and over again.
Are you making everything look successful on the outside, but secretly you're drowning on the inside? Like you're checking every box, showing up for everyone else, but completely disconnected from you. Are you constantly tired even after a full night of sleep? Do you feel burned out, overwhelmed, and like you're stuck in a cycle of doing everything and still never feeling like it's enough? Is your mind always cluttered with mental fog while your body is running on empty? Yeah, I've been there. And I had to make some really hard decisions to break from that cycle. I left a secure job that no longer aligned with my peace. I walked away from a long-term relationship that felt familiar but not healthy. I released over 60 pounds physically and arguably mentally and emotionally too. And I healed from the abandonment of my biological father. I got clarity. And that's why I created Clarity, a community designed to help you to eliminate chronic stress. Inside Clarity, we walk you through 3 powerful phases. First, we help you to optimize your physical health because when your body feels better, your mind gets clearer. Next, we guide you through the work of eliminating chronic stress at the root, whether it shows up as burnout, overwhelm, anxiety, or just that feeling of constant pressure. We use tools like emotional intelligence, mindset work, and our proprietary science-backed frameworks. And finally, we walk you through what it takes to live a life of radical obedience. This is where you start making bold, aligned decisions that reflect the life you were created to live. Because life is not about perfection, it's about peace. It's about confidence. It's about improving your quality of life and making the kind of impact you were born to make. So if you've been feeling the tug, that quiet inner knowing that there's more for you, I invite you to click the link and get on the list. Because peace is not a luxury, it's your birthright. And it all starts with clarity.
Number 2, being unhealed while trying to navigate chronic stress, it weakens our faith muscle. Our faith muscle is all about belief. It's all about being able to navigate tough or uncertain circumstances, especially when we can't fully see in front of us. We can't see the full picture. But if we're coming from an unhealed place, and maybe, let me give you another example. We'll come back to this screen in a minute when I share the other two things I got to share with you. So maybe, and this is the case for a lot of my students, maybe you've experienced failure before. Let me give you an example of how this showed up for one of our students. She is currently in a place where she really feels called to start this business for kids, right? It's this initiative she has is a beautiful vision for children. However, she tried starting a business before now, and it didn't work out. Because she hasn't reconciled the feelings and the disappointment from the first failed business, she's now hesitating and dragging her feet to start this business. She hasn't healed from the first failure. She hasn't dusted herself off and taken a healthy perspective and look at the past data. She's just using that past failure to create a limiting belief that she's going to fail in the future. And so because she hasn't healed from the first failed business, she's now operating in disobedience because she's not pulling the trigger on the new divine download, on the new vision. Like, is this making sense? Like, these are real world examples of how being unhealed will prolong chronic stress. I need you guys to understand how important it is when you have an experience in life, how you must do the work. Some of us are avoiding the work. We're thinking we can just up and start something else or get into another relationship or try another business or try for the 100th time to lose that weight. You have not reconciled this over here. Therefore, everything you put your hands on is now compromised because your decision making is compromised and your faith muscle is weak. It's hard for her to believe that she can be successful in this new business because the failure of the past is still haunting her. I need you guys to understand the power of healing. It's like if you are unhealed and you're chronically stressed, I need you to stop everything you're doing and go heal. Go do the work. This is the tough work. Like, this is the stuff where you got to like, oh man, I'm going to have to initiate some difficult conversations, right? I'm going to have to put myself in an environment where I might have to conjure this up again and talk through it and talk about it. I might have to go back and revisit that failed business and really take a bird's eye and say, what went wrong so that I can avoid it going forward? A lot of us, when we have things that happen that doesn't feel good, we run from it. We put it in a corner and we avoid it. We put it on a shelf and we never look at it again. That won't work here. If you are unhealed, your decision-making is compromised. Don't take bad decision-making into a new business. Don't take bad decision-making into a new relationship. Don't take bad decision-making into a new community. You're like, okay, look, all I need to do is just join Lisa's program. I'll do that. But you're so unhealed, you can't even show up into the community like you need to get the help that you deserve because you're so self-conscious and insecure. You can't even raise your hand to ask a question because you're so unhealed. You're used to being shut down when it's time to ask a question, or maybe you were taught growing up that you always had to be perfect and it always had to be right. And it feels like you're doing something wrong because you got to ask a question. It feels like you're positioning yourself for critique, and critique doesn't feel good because you have always been taught how good you need to be. And so now you can't even show up in communities and get the help you need. Let me tell y'all something. Being unhealed is compromising everything for you. And so we got to do the work, y'all. It wasn't until I got healed from the abandonment from my father that I was then able to navigate and really take off in my business. We're celebrating 10 years in business this year. Life has never looked the same. I don't have any chronic stress. I hope y'all can understand how most of y'all see me online and everywhere else all the time. I'm busy, 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 and I'm still not stressed out. Now, a lot of us, we all have a lot of stuff going on. Y'all all super busy. Y'all's probably mad I had the conversation at this time. Why she gonna do that in the middle? That I got to do. I'm sorry. Because we all got things going on and a lot of moving pieces, but that doesn't mean we all stressed out. I need y'all to understand. I'm in a blissful busy. Like, having a lot going on don't mean you stressed out and overwhelmed. Who's out here gunning for blissful busy? Right? That's a thing you can be. That's a real thing. Like being overwhelmed don't mean you necessarily have a lot of space on your calendar. You could still be busy. You could still have a lot of moving pieces. You could have a whole family. You could be in school and working a 9 to 5 and starting a business, and you still don't have to be stressed out. Did y'all know that? Do y'all know that not being stressed don't necessarily equal not having a lot going on? You can have a lot going on and not be stressed. Blissful busy. That's a real thing. Because I'm so healed, I can navigate my calendar, I can navigate my schedule from a healthy place, right? And I can still stay on top of the things that takes care of me. I still work out every day. I still eat my plants every day. I still drink my water. I still spend the time with the people I love. None of it feels overwhelmed. None of it feels like too much. And y'all see how much I do. From podcasting to YouTube to Instagram and to speaking to running programs to leading teams to leading communities. I do it all and I love it. But I'm doing it from a healthy place. So I don't wake up tired. I'm not dealing with chronic fatigue. I'm not mentally overwhelmed. And that's a real thing that you can have too. It exists and it's possible. Okay. So that's the first two things I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to share the second two, and then we're going to open it up for some Q&A if you guys have some. So the first thing I wanted you to know is being chronically stressed plus being unhealed means you have compromised decision-making. It weakens your faith muscle, which means you don't have the ability to take the chances you need to take to get the results you need to get. When you have a weak faith muscle, you don't take chances because you're so afraid of it not going right, or you're so afraid of what you're going to look like because you don't know what you're doing. So you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of critique. And so you take tiny steps instead of bigger leaps that you need to get to the next level because your faith muscle is weak. And so you don't believe enough. So because you don't believe enough, because you feel like you need to see everything so that you don't mess up or so that you don't embarrass yourself or whatever you're worried about that might happen when you take bigger leaps, you don't do it because your faith muscle is so weak, because you're so unhealed. So here's the final two things I want to tell you, which is what are the hidden costs of chronic stress. There's two major things. Like in my past master classes about stress, I've taught you guys over and over again about the physical health costs of chronic stress. Like we've talked about that, right? I've talked about how chronic stress literally compromises the immune system and can shorten your life, right? But I want to share real quick the hidden costs of chronic stress, right? The things that we probably haven't thought about as much and the damage that this stress can do to you, especially if you're dealing with the stress and you're unhealed from something. So I told you guys what's the risk of being unhealed and dealing with stress. Now let's talk about the hidden costs of chronic stress. There's two major things. Sometimes when we've been dealing with chronic stress for so long, we don't even realize how much we've normalized dysfunction. We've normalized it so much that we don't even realize how unhealthy we are, how unhealthy of a circumstance we're in. So the very first cost that comes with living with chronic stress is quality of life. So quality of life is really speaking to the amount of joy we're able to extract out of life on a daily basis, our ability to navigate uncertainty or unexpected circumstances in a healthy way, our ability to be healthy and then stay healthy. So not just doing the things to be healthy and maybe losing the weight, but then not gaining it back. Your numbers not going back up, right? Like quality of life. Like if you want to travel, you can travel. If you want to start a business, you can do that. If you know your worth, so you can put yourself out there. Like quality of life means being in a position to do the things you need to do to extract the most joy out of life for yourself and others, right? It really speaks to self-actualization, meaning your gifts and your talents are being optimized and used for the improvement of other people's lives, right? But what happens is a lot of times when we've been overwhelmed for so long, we don't even notice it anymore. Like when we've made a habit out of adjusting life to dysfunction, we don't even realize we're doing it. I sometimes tell the story of my old hairdresser who had arthritis. She had been doing hair so long, she had like arthritis in her hands and it was like spreading to the rest of her body. And she was overweight. And she also, I'm fairly certain, was an alcoholic. And so she drank a lot and she ate a lot of junk. And then she was on her feet all day. And so I remember one time I was in her chair and she knew what I did for a living. So we would often have conversations about health. And she was telling me how the arthritis was really starting to get to her knees and she was having trouble getting in and out of her car because her car set so low to the ground. And she's like, so I'm thinking about getting a truck. Not, Lisa, what can I eat that can get rid of the inflammation? Not what can I drink or stop drinking? Not how should I be moving? Let me just adjust my life to have achy knees. I need y'all to hear it. So, what adjustments are you considering in your life to live with something that's compromising your quality of life? We in relationships. Let me just do this. Like, let me just make sure I get up earlier or let me make sure I do this a little later so I don't agitate him or her. Not let me have a conversation and try and fix the relationship. Let me just make adjustments for the dysfunction to exist so I could coexist with the dysfunction. And so we compromise our quality of life. She's willing to go in debt or spend money that she ain't planning to spend to get a whole new vehicle so that she can live with achy knees. But some of us need to be considering, like, what's the harder work we need to be doing? Like, because it definitely was harder work to change your diet. It's definitely harder work to stop drinking. And so what harder work are we avoiding? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. What harder work am I avoiding? How am I adjusting my life to live in dysfunction? And it's driving down the quality of my life versus making the tougher decisions, like facing yourself in the mirror and saying, you know what? I got to get out of this relationship. I got to get out of this job. Like, you keep trying to breathe your way through it. You keep trying to meditate your way through it. You keep thinking like, okay, if I just make sure I schedule a self-care day once a week or once a month, that won't do. You got to do the harder work of making tougher decisions now. You can't keep trying to just manage this thing. You can't keep trying to do small things in the interim to get tiny bits of relief. Your whole quality of life has been compromised because you're avoiding making a tough decision. You're avoiding a difficult conversation. You have compromised decision making from being unhealed. So one of the hidden costs of chronic stress is overall, if we step back and take a look at our life, when I say quality of life, like, let's break that down even more and get a little more granular. Quality of your relationships, quality of your health, quality of your career, the quality of your friendships, the quality of your faith, the quality of your leisure time and recreation. Like, you ever just try and go do something to have fun and you like, dang, this ain't even, I'm not even getting as much joy out of this as I used to. I used to really enjoy knitting. I used to enjoy these dinners with my girlfriends. I can't even extract as much joy out of these things anymore because I let life get so far up from under me. When I say quality of life, like, get granular. What area is that for you? Your chronic stress has compromised the quality of your health. Lisa, I've gained this weight because I'm an emotional eater. Chronic stress has compromised the quality of your health. Me and my partner are just mostly roommates now. That chronic stress has compromised the quality of your marriage. Like, you got to be honest with yourself here. So that's number one. The number two, the second cost of chronic stress is, and this is the one for me, because I'm all about that radical obedience life. It is compromised your contribution to society. Hidden costs of chronic stress, number one, your quality of life. Number two, your contribution to society. I'm going to say this as kind as I can. Some of you guys listening right now ought to be ashamed that you have assignments that was given to you that you have not turned in yet. It ain't been months, it's been years for some of you guys. You've been got the divine download to start that thing, to write that book, to start that podcast, to initiate that thing in your community and your sorority. You were been supposed to be in the head of the health and what. You were been supposed to be leading young people. You were been supposed to be helping victims of domestic violence. You were been supposed to tell your wild life story in some book or in some documentary. You've been had the vision to elevate hidden figures in our society, but you have not pulled the trigger on it. Your contribution to society has been compromised because of your unhealed self and the fact that you're dealing with chronic stress that you're not willing to make firm, big decisions around to get out of. Our contribution to, you have been called to be a coach. You get upset every time you watch that segment of the population struggle. You were been called to solve the food insecurity problem in your community, but I'm too tired all the time, Lisa. I got brain fog. I can't think clearly, Lisa. You were been called to the stage to speak, to teach, to share. You have mastery in something that the rest of us barely know what we're doing, but we're not benefiting from your mastery because of your disobedience. It's a shame. It really is, guys. Like, I need you to understand. Every time we are disobedient and we spend another month, another week, another year not executing on the assignment, and then got the nerve to show up somewhere talking about, I don't know my purpose. You know what you're supposed to be doing. But here's the issue. I can't see how. I don't see how that's possible, or I don't know what the first step is. See, number one, a weakened faith muscle. So now I'm not willing to take big leaps and big chances because my faith muscle is so weak, because somewhere embedded in my subconscious, I got a story, a narrative that's telling me that I only move when I see all of the steps. Somewhere in my subconscious, I have a narrative telling me I have to know all the things and be good at it before I start. Somewhere in my narrative, in my subconscious, I have these limiting beliefs telling me that people are going to judge me, laugh at me. I won't be good enough. I'm not going to help anybody. Nobody's going to see the worth in what I'm saying or what I'm selling. And so maybe I just shouldn't do it. We have a weak faith muscle. We have compromised decision making. And so now it's affecting our contribution to society. That's all I have for y'all today. I just had to get that off my chest, and I wanted an audience for it. So I'm going to open up the floor for some Q&A or somebody just sharing, what did you need today? Now, y'all know when we do this, when I'm live on YouTube on Monday mornings and Instagram, the rule is there's a fee for free, which is that biggest takeaway. So if you don't have anything else, at least I need a few of you guys to share with me what was for you today. What did you need to hear today? Can I get a few hands up for you guys, some of you guys to share what was the nugget for you today? What did you need to hear? Come on, Antina.
So what I find is in a relationship, a married relationship. So the harder thing to me for that person, my spouse, is the communication. So he does not want to talk. So I've been doing counseling, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to work on anything. And so that would be the hardest thing for me to do, to make those steps. Like, everything has been me initiating it. I've been initiating everything. And we're talking over 40 years of marriage. And so it's like, okay, I know that there's so much more for us as a married couple. And so I've gone through healing. I'm going to work on myself. And my counselor says, oh, you can't change anybody. And I'm going, okay, and you're just, what's the harder thing to do? And now we're roommates. We're just roommates. And he totally seems to be fine with that. And here I am dealing with this chronic stress in that relationship area. So it's like, I'm going, God, help me to just to be content. Help me just to let it be. Help me just to let it go. Then I hear something like you're talking, and I'm thinking, okay, Anyway, so the takeaway for me is do the hard work.
Yes.
And I've initiated conversations. I've brought it up. I've talked about it. There's the elephant in the room, but it's always been me, 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 me. And I'm thinking, is he just fine with this? So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
And I'm glad you did, Tina. And I'm sorry that you're in that circumstance. And I think you answered your question. You said, what's the hard thing that I need to do? Like, because you're doing all the things that they would tell us to do, right? Therapy. I went to God about it. I've initiated conversation, so I'm not keeping it all inside, expecting somebody to read my mind. Right? So now you have to decide. I'll tell you one question that I was asked one time about a relationship that really got me to thinking. Okay. And that question was, if absolutely nothing changes from this moment, can you live with it?
Yeah.
And that's something you spend some time with, because you're right. It might be a bigger decision that you need to make. right? If
Mm.
absolutely nothing changes, because you have a vision of, like you just said, like we could be great. And you're right, 40 years is a long time. Kudos to you. But if you said he just seems to think everything is fine, you're the only one trying to work, maybe that's true. If that's the case, and if nothing changes past this moment, can you live with it?
It's like I don't want to live with it. I don't want to. I see all the, I'm working on myself. So I go, oh, wow. And my son, he goes, oh, read this book. And I'm going, yeah, tell your dad to read that book. So I've read the book and I'm going, oh, if he would only read this book. But he's just
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. I mean, both parties have to be willing participants in. You're 100% right. Like, yeah, you got to work on you, but both parties have to be willing participants in the change.
Yeah.
A little bit what it sounds like is that you might be avoiding considering the other options.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to not have to think about the ultimate option. But that you might have to think about it. I'm not saying you should at all. I'm just saying you want to consider, because is this current circumstance and the way you feel sustainable for your quality of life? You got a lot more living to do. And you messing around with me, girl, you're going to be living to about 120. So that's a long way to go. That's a long way to go.
That's what my daughter tells me. Mom, you're going to be living to your 100. And I'm thinking, wow.
So spend some time with it, Tina. You in my ecosystem, so we'll talk.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing today. True, come on in.
Hi there. I am multitasking here, getting ready for a business event, but I just really wanted to thank you for this. One of the things that I'm up against is feeling like I have a great life. I've been abstaining from flour and sugar for over 20 years. I've adopted the plant-based way of life. It's really amazing, but I still deal with chronic stress and insomnia. And so what really came up for me when you were speaking is that I actually had a cruise scheduled in March, and then there was another event in Jamaica, and I actually had to go through just almost a congressional act, talking to my friends and loved ones about taking 2 vacations in 1 month from work, like I didn't deserve it. So I am taking 2 vacations, but I found myself in listening to you that I was actually thinking about taking my laptop, and it's like, well, how do I get to a place where I'm taking a vacation, but I can leave and not think about work? And that's something I really need to do some work around. And I know it comes from trauma that I've dealt with. I'm almost 70 years old, and I've got some stories about, just working in corporate America and feeling like your job ain't going to be there when you get back, or maybe you don't need a vacation. But I want to thoroughly enjoy my vacation next month. So this conversation was really appropriate. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I just want to appreciate you, sister. And it's working. I'm glad I'm in your class this morning.
I am too. And here's a question I'm going to give you, True, that you can take with you. The next time you're up against that moment where you're considering, compromising your vacation because you want to bring your laptop or something else that isn't fitting for the circumstance, the question I want you to ask yourself is, what am I afraid of? Why do I think it's risky to put down the laptop and put down work? What am I afraid of happening or going wrong? Or what outcome am I trying to avoid by working through my vacation? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Spend some time with that. Okay. Before we get Terrence up, I know some of you guys might have to leave soon. I'm going to drop the link to my playlist on YouTube about healing here in the chat. For those of you who need to begin the healing process, I'm just a coach and teacher at heart. So I can't tell y'all to go out here and heal and not tell y'all how to do it. So I have a healing series that I did on YouTube. I just dropped the link in the chat. Take that with you in case you got to hop off. Okay. It's 4 episodes where I talk about healing, how to heal, and all of those things. And I'm hoping it helps some of you guys out. All right, come on in, Terrence.
Awesome. My question is, when dealing with both of these topics, the chronic stress and unhealing, is it enough just for coaching, or is therapy a must?
Oh, it depends. No, it could definitely be a coaching scenario. It just depends on the severity of it. Like if we're dealing with severe trauma stuff, or if the result of it is severe, like it causes severe anxiety or severe depression, right? then it definitely might need to go into a therapeutic space. And I don't know, Kamara might even be able to speak to this even better too, about like when should somebody be considering therapy above and beyond just coaching in a community. For me, I chose therapy right away, first and foremost. And then from there, community and getting into personal development spaces was enough for maintenance thereout. And so you'll have to make that decision because it definitely, in my personal experience, has to depend on the severity of what I was dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah. Kamara, you want to add something or are you good?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Lisa. So I think it's both, but I would also encourage therapy because we do think we can resolve things, but when we start down the journey, what brings us there, the presenting issue, is not what we're dealing with. It's the other things that we need to go back and deal with. So therapy is certainly a must and a plus. Thank you,
Kamara,
Lisa,
tell them
so
what
much.
you do so they'll know why I asked you.
I'm a therapist. I do work with children and adults. I do substance use, mental health, and trauma.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for sharing because that is a great question. Like, when should I be considering therapy? Okay, Shirley, come on in.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I just want to thank you so much, Lisa. This is more than just nuggets. It's really profitable, helpful, valuable, everything. But I want to thank Tina for sharing because I'm going through a similar experience. Can't talk too much because it makes me so sad. You know, the whole idea of trying to fix yourself all the time, trying to evaluate what am I doing? Am I being the best that I should be? Am I wrong? And then you talk to God about it. Lord, make me the best, whatever. But at the same time, the other party is just like a stone not moving. You will try to initiate a conversation. You come with ideas. You try to evaluate, and there's no input. Almost a dead emotion. There's nothing, I just don't know what to do. And it's this whole idea of Tina mentioned about the whole religious, affiliation thing. And there's a certain guilt I feel if I make a certain decision. It has been said many times, if you're not happy, that's an option. But for me, I've literally said it's not an option. What God has put together. But I'm miserable. I'm now admitting I'm miserable. So how do you deal with constant negativity?
Yeah. God bless you, Shirley. Okay. So, Terrence, let's plan to talk about this. I know we can probably put something together with the men we have mutual friends with in the mastermind. So, Shirley, Tina, friends, and me and Terrence know each other from a mastermind that we in, which houses some very, very healthy marriages, right? And it's a faith-based community. And so I'm thinking me and Terrence will talk and I'll see about facilitating and holding space where we could do like a men thing. I don't know, Terrence, let me ideate. And I think they might even offer something in our community, but I don't know if it's open to the public. So I don't know if we got to create something separate. But I am in an ecosystem surrounded by healthy marriages, surrounded by. And so I would love to get you guys who need this information in a room with men and women. So you hear from both parties. And I'm actually coaching a couple right now who has a very healthy marriage and they are starting relationship coaching for other married couples and they're faith-based as well. They do Christian marriage counseling. And so I'm going to talk to them about putting something on. We could do a virtual event and they have come through a lot in their marriage. And maybe I can start off by facilitating this conversation. I don't like people to feel like they just don't know where to go or what to do, especially if it's been one-sided in your effort with your partner, right? And so I definitely have resources and colleagues where we can probably put something together. How does that sound? Is that okay, Shirley? I don't know where you went. Or Tina?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, just so you can hear some other perspectives and how others have dealt with it and then see if there's something you can hear about how to get through to your partner or what all your options may be and what to consider.
Thank you.
Yeah. Allison?
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I sure can. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so nice to talk to you. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I do want to send prayers. Miss Tina, Miss Shirley, definitely praying for your strength and that God gives you comfort and peace during this time. For me, definitely wanted to share my biggest takeaway, which is the importance, but more importantly, just the power of being healed. And I just came off of your SOS challenge. I was on YouTube, couldn't really say much. I did engage in a chat, but I will say over the past few years, I've definitely been operating from a spirit of fear and making decisions from unhealthy places. However, through that community, my perspective and just my mindset has shifted. So, just with beginning my healing journey, I've definitely been able to have so many difficult conversations with family, with friendships. I've just been reassessing and reevaluating everything. And through that, definitely changed my eating. I started off this year at 231. I ended up gaining a total of 70 pounds after my mom passed from cancer. And I honestly got to the point where I'm like, girl, you can't even lose the weight. You're so far off. But Lisa, it's just something about the way you speak, and it's just so powerful and it resonates. So thank you for that. And I don't even want to get emotional. But today, before the Zoom, I weighed myself. Since January 1st, I have lost 22 pounds.
Praise God.
And I have an appointment next month in March. And I didn't want to say anything until after my appointment. But no, I'm claiming it now, and I'm going to speak in faith. I know I'm going to lose more. And I've been saying since I gave birth to my daughter, which was 17 years ago, I have not been able to get under 200 pounds. I'm now only 10 pounds away from that. So this is an appointment that I am looking forward to. I believe that I have put my hypertension in remission. I don't even take the pills anymore, and I feel great. I believe that I have put the prediabetes in remission. I cannot wait for them to check my A1C. And I'm just finally in a place where I just feel joy. So I definitely, I thank you for that. And I am just embracing this journey, and I'm looking forward to many more results to come. So thank you.
You're so welcome, Allison. Thank you for showing up when I made the invitation. We are all exceptionally proud of you. Y'all, isn't that amazing? Ooh. Getting healthy will make you feel so good. She said, I'm in a place where I feel joy. I don't know if y'all caught that, but what an amazing feeling. What an amazing feeling. Praise God. So happy and proud of you, Allison. Thank you for sharing. Okay, our last two, and then we're out of here. Come on in, Melanie. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good.
I just love this class, and I just wanted to affirm and confirm what you said about healing causing you to make bad decisions, because my story was my mother had mental illness. And so from a child, I was her caregiver. And people don't talk about mental illness and the dysfunction that goes on. And so I lived for 60 years, I lived with that and that dysfunction, just going along, not recognizing how it was affecting my decision making. And so as I start the process of healing and joining Lisa's coaching program, and doing self-development work and becoming aware, when I look back, all the damage that was created from the decisions I made based on that dysfunction. So what she's saying is just like so on point, and it just was like a power punch. And I encourage what she's saying, please do the healing process, because you don't want to be like me in your 60s and looking back and looking at all that damage you created from the decisions you made. So I want to thank you so much, Coach. And I was in Lisa's coaching program, and I'm telling you, it's the best out there. So any of you who are planning on going forward on your assignment, please, and you want to be a coach, join the program. You won't regret it.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. Love you forever. Yeah, Melanie was in our business accelerator, y'all, to launch and expand her coaching business, her health coaching business. And we worked together for 2 years inside of there. And Melanie, I'm super proud of the work you've done over that time to just better yourself and your own personal mindset, because that's where it all starts. Like, we can't produce anything healthy from an unhealthy place. Make sure y'all catch it, right? It's going to be very difficult to produce something healthy, a business, a relationship, a kid, from an unhealthy place. Everything is compromised that you try and produce when you are unhealthy. It's all compromised. Like, it's no guarantee that it's not going to be good, but the chances are increased if you haven't done the personal work first. Okay. Come on in, Katrina.
Good afternoon, Lisa and everyone. I just wanted to say thank you. You are such a blessing. You don't even know what resonated in my spirit is when you said being unhealthy is compromising everything in your life. I said, Jesus. That part right there just resonated so deep in my spirit. And my question was, but you already answered it, how do we go through the healing process?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm at a place where I have to do this for me, nobody else but Katrina. And I'm determined to be healed and whole. Determined. So whatever I need to do for Katrina, it's going to be done. I took off today because I didn't want to miss this.
Oh,
I said, oh no, I'm not even going to play with it. I'm going to be there. And I took a personal day and I said, well, let me get my house in order until the Zoom call. But I said, I'm not missing it because I can't take the chance on missing it because I know what I need for me. And it's about me and nobody else. And I thank God for you. And I appreciate you.
It's not me. It's not me. Let me tell you something. You already have the most important ingredient, Katrina, which is determination. You said, I am determined to heal. When somebody gets to that point, that means there's no obstructions. There's no roadblocks. I don't care what it takes. For somebody else, Katrina, today, right now in this moment, for somebody else, they're not here because they had to work. Like your evidence of I'm determined. So they just gonna have to, I'm gonna need a personal day today. I'm determined to get what I need to become the best version of myself.
Yes.
It's the determination for me. Like from here on out, everything you put your hands on to become a better person is going to work out for you. It's going to reap some benefits. It is going to be in your favor because you're determined, like you're unstoppable at this point. So I need you to I need you to understand it's already going to happen because most people, they're like, I can't make it. I need that, but I hope she sent out the recording. I'm not saying people are wrong for it. I'm just saying sometimes we get to a level of determination where there is nothing that's going to stop us from getting for what we came to get. And I'm hearing that you're in that place. And so say less at this point.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, for sure. Coach Janelle. Hey, Janelle.
So look, I'm trying to figure out how to lower my hand. I am one of those people who I'm here, but I am working. And I was like, I want some notes. I messaged Melanie. That's my question. Like, I didn't hear everything. And I want to say, Katrina, thank you so much for passing that energy of determination on. I receive it. You sharing that was so helpful for me. Like, if I didn't get anything else, just determined and just knowing that nothing is going to stop you. So thank you for sharing that. You know, I didn't get to hear much, but I do know that Lisa, you talked about, at least in the past, trying to figure out what you need to heal from. Think about what triggers you. And I remember your story about sitting on the bench and like, why am I crying? Like, what's going on? So I do know that, but I want to see if I can get some more from this conversation that maybe I missed. So I am one of those people trying to get a recording or something else. So
yeah. We'll send out the recording to people who are registered for sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, got you. No problem. All right, so that was all the hands, y'all. Thank you for joining me in this quick, intimate conversation. Y'all like spontaneous stuff like that? Because I could just hit y'all with these divine downloads every now and then. Okay. All right. Let me know. Because sometimes I get them and I can't let it go to waste because that would be disobedience. And so I just wanted to come on real quick and share those things. I'll see you guys around on these internet streets. Y'all have a phenomenal rest of y'all day.
You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.